Okay, I think we're all good and set to go. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to this presentation. My name is Lisa Panton, and I am a LifeVantage consultant based out of Huddersfield in West Yorkshire in the UK. I apologize for the au natural. I've just literally hot-footed it in from sorting out the horses. I was just saying to everybody before we start recording, it's lucky that it's not smell-o-vision and you don't get the odor of the barn included in the presentation. You just get the au natural look, which I don't think is that bad from running from the barn, to be honest with you. I could look a little bit more windswept, but you are either here joining us on this call this evening, or you're maybe watching a recording of this call and you were invited to take a look at this because maybe you or somebody you know has been struggling with fibromyalgia. Now, I want to say before we do anything else on this call that I am not a medical professional. I am not a doctor, but I have been in the health and wellness industry for about 30 years. Nothing that we are saying in this meeting this evening is designed to treat, cure, or prevent, or claim that we do so, any type of disease. What we're sharing with you is information that is already out there in the internet. I'm going to point you to some directions that you can find more about this information yourself. And we're going to share a real life example of what we've shared with you. So it's going to be a little bit of a different call. What I don't want to do is kill you death by PowerPoint. I'm going to try and mix it up a little bit. And I'm also, my reason and thinking behind that is because what I'd like to do, rather than me share a load of slides and you take my word for it, what I'd like to do is take you through a few sites online and maybe a couple of slides as well. And we're going to jump around a little bit. The reason I'd like to do that is because I want you to see that what I'm telling you is backed by science and evidence, and that it's not just me waffling on a load of information on a slide deck that I've made up. All right. So that was my thinking behind it. So what I want to do this evening is I want to walk through a little bit about how I ended up here talking about this in the first place. And then I want to talk a little bit about the basics around, how fibromyalgia manifests itself in the terms of symptoms. We're going to use NHS data for all of that as well. And then we're going to look at what the treatments for that are, and we're going to look at how treatment manages that, but how do you actually look and find one of the root causes of this issue, and how do you start to treat the root cause, not the symptoms? And then we've got a special guest joining us this evening, Isiomara, all the way from the Netherlands. And she is somebody who has going to share her own story and experience of everything that we've discussed and how she's got on and how she's managed to really manage some of her own symptoms. Now, I personally am not somebody who has ever been diagnosed with fibromyalgia, but I am somebody who has struggled with quite severe chronic fatigue. So a lot of the other symptoms minus the pain. So the brain fog and the fatigue and a lot of the other symptoms that you would experience. And about 10 years ago, I was absolutely floored with this. I was mentally and physically broken. My mental capacity was gone. My physical energy, motivation, focus, concentration to do things was completely shot. And a good friend of mine in the USA reached out and said, there's this video you need to watch. And if anybody's interested in that video, we can direct you to it. And it was a video that showed me the actual cause of aging and how you physically reverse some of that aging inside of your body. And I was like, wow, I was a pharmaceutical rep at the time. And I saw that there was 10 years ago, 18 peer-reviewed published studies proving that this particular treatment or product that she was talking about actually did what it said it did. And knowing what I know from years in the anti-aging health and wellness industry, I was blown away by what they were saying, because what they were actually showing me is a physical reversing of aging inside your body and taking away a lot of the stress, cellular stress, and inflammatory issues that we face through other issues and mostly through aging. And so I said, get me some of that stuff as soon as possible. It wasn't available in Europe. I had to wait for it to come on the slow train all the way from the US. And within 4 days, I woke up before my alarm and I felt brighter. I felt like the fog had lifted, is the best way I can explain it. My focus over the next 6 months started to return. My energy returned. And that was 10 years ago. I've never had a single migraine since this day I started doing this. And for the last 10 years, all I have done is gone out and raved about this. Now, one of the groups and one of the stories, just one of them, that we have seen incredible results with is people that are struggling with the symptoms of fibromyalgia. So struggling with sleep, struggling with inflammatory issues, struggling with pain, struggling with stress, brain fog, fatigue, all of those symptoms that are part of that cohort that they put together for fibromyalgia. We have found incredible results in it over the last 10 years. So what I want to do really quickly is I want to take you to Facebook. And 10 years ago, we started this group. It's called My Life Vantage Story. And if you want to go and find this group and join it, you can. One thing I will say to you is unless you write the name of the person who invited you to watch this video, you won't get access to the group. So it will ask you who invited you. You must put their name. It is vitally important. Although we don't allow people in that have not been personally invited by somebody. So over the years, one of the things that I've seen is amazing results with people struggling with these symptoms. So if I go to the search engine in this group and I search the word fibromyalgia, what you'll see is story after story after story of people that have seen an improvement in their own health, well-being, the way that they feel as a result of reducing oxidative stress. And I'm going to explain what that is and how we do that. And it goes on story after story after story. And you can go in here and do that search and you can read through all of these yourself and just see the just absolutely unbelievable stories of people sharing their own experience. And so over the last 10 years, I've been able to experience this. And I've also really struggled with getting through to some of the people that are struggling with these symptoms. I know that sometimes people are afraid that people take advantage of them, that they're always being told, try this, do the other, and they never get any results. So they get totally fed up with it. But I find it really frustrating because we have really managed to help a lot of people gain a lot of benefits from reducing oxidative stress. All right. So what I want to do is that's how I got here. So I ended up using the product. I had amazing results. It helped me with a lot of those symptoms. And I then said, the world has got to know about this. We went out and we started telling everybody. Isio was somebody that I knew in the Netherlands. She was like, this sounds really interesting. I'm very keen to try it for myself. As somebody struggling with fibromyalgia herself. And yeah, so we are here to really drive the message home, encourage more people to give this a go, to see it as an option and give it a try. 3 to 6 months, you've nothing to lose, but I'm telling you, you are going to feel the benefits of doing this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen and we're going to pop in and out of different areas as we do this. We're going to go back to Google. And I'm going to go to the NHS. So we're going to look at the National Health Service. This is for those of you that are not in the UK. The NHS is the British National Health Service. So it's the government's medical system. And this is off their website. And if you look at the symptoms of fibromyalgia, it is listed as increased sensitivity to pain, muscle stiffness, difficulty getting to sleep or staying asleep, which leads to fatigue. So sleep leading to fatigue. Problems with mental processing, known as brain fog or fibro fog. Difficulty concentrating, remembering things, being able to focus on work tasks, headaches, IBS, low mood, depression, frustration, are all of the category of symptoms. And I think they say if you have 5 of those, it indicates that you would have something called fibromyalgia. It's not actually a disease as such, it's a collective of symptoms that they pull together. So if you look at how the treatment on the NHS website, it is saying lifestyle changes, which obviously you want to make sure that you're doing self-care, looking after yourself, exercise programs, relaxation techniques, talking therapies such as cognitive behavior therapy, because some of this is usually triggered through some type of physical or emotional stress, is the belief that they have with this. So that's what leads us on to what causes it. Now, if you look at the treatments, sorry, I missed out the bottom one, which is medicines such as antidepressants, usually sleeping tablets, antidepressants, and painkillers. Now, if you're somebody who struggles yourself, do feel welcome to put in the chat what other symptoms you have and maybe what other treatments you've been using as well, because that would be really great to know. Or drop me a 1 in the comments if this is all making sense to you. So as you can see, the treatment that is recommended to most people is treating the symptoms. So you'll see all of these are symptoms. But what is causing those symptoms? What is the cause of those symptoms? So the things that you're feeling and the things that you're seeing in your body, that is a symptom. That is your body telling you something's not okay. There's something out of balance, not working as it should be. But they are symptoms. All of these are symptoms. The treatment is literally not treating the cause, which I was told years ago, the cause of fibromyalgia was actually the lack of REM sleep, which nowhere in any of the research from any of the data from the National Health Service mentions that. But I was told that a long time ago that that was one of the main causes. But you'll see it's all treating the symptoms. So what I want to share with you is some research and information that shows you there is something that is linked to the cause of these symptoms. And when you're looking to treat yourself, and by the way, I'm not going to go against anything your medical practitioner tells you to do. This is just all information for you to take on board, digest and research for yourself. But you would want to get to the root cause of the symptoms. I see Dr. Jeff is on here, is a orthopedic surgeon based out of Florida, and I'm sure Dr. Jeff will agree that getting to the root cause of the problem rather than treating the symptom is where you really, really want to go to have real results. And so if you look at, this was a quick AI search that I did, and I searched the words fibromyalgia and oxidative stress, okay? I searched the words fibromyalgia and oxidative stress. And if you've no idea what oxidative stress is, don't worry. I'm going to break all of that down in the simplest terms that I can. I'm going to try and speed through this very quickly, but give you the ability to go back and find all this stuff yourself so you can research it further. But it says, if you look here, scientific research indicates a significant link between fibromyalgia and oxidative stress. An imbalance between unstable molecules, which are known, you'll probably know them as free radicals in your body, and the body's own antioxidant defense against them. Studies have found that people with fibromyalgia often have elevated levels of oxidative stress markers and lower levels of the antioxidants your body produces to be able to protect you from them. So then if you look at the role of oxidative stress plays in fibromyalgia, you'll see that it causes mitochondrial dysfunction. And mitochondrial dysfunction, if you have fibromyalgia, is of great importance to you because it is what creates the energy that you live on. And as you know, energy is something that is running short often. So oxidative stress can affect the mitochondria's health, and the mitochondria is what produces the energy that your cells live on. It also affects, it affects the function, it affects the production of the energy that your cells lives on, and also it's shown to create a coenzyme Q10 deficiency, and it's shown that there's usually a deficiency in that area, which remember that one, because we're going to come back to it in a little while. Oxidative stress contributes to the widespread pain of fibromyalgia through its effect on the central nervous system. We also know oxidative stress affects the oligodendrocytes, the little fatty tissue that protects and conducts your nerves. Neuroinflammation, high levels of oxidative stress can inflame your immune cells in the nervous system. The cell wall, so lipid peroxidation, which is basically the walls that protect your cells, can be affected and broken down. It impairs the neurotransmitter functioning. Fibromyalgia patients exhibit a weaker oxidant defense system, meaning the oxidants that your body produces itself, and is less able to counteract oxidative damage. Patients often have a reduced activity of key antioxidant enzymes such as superoxide dismutase. Remember that one? And catalase. Specifically, it mentions those two. That is very important. And then overall antioxidant capacity is often diminished in those with fibromyalgia. Guys, this is really, really important information. And then it goes on to talk about therapeutic implications, and it really talks about antioxidant supplementation. But I'm going to walk you through what we do, which is 1 million times more, well, 17 million times more effective than using antioxidants. We're actually going to teach you how to switch on and upregulate your body's own production of them, because if you're low in them, you need, and you up them, it's going to help, basically. So I wanted to show you this just so that you can see I'm not spouting off rubbish. And then you'll see there's a more recent study here in 2025. And if you look just at the abstract of this study, it's saying that it is increasingly recognized in fibromyalgia, is increasingly recognized as a disorder driven by oxidative stress, mitochondrial dysfunction, and neuroinflammation, contributing to pain sensitization and fatigue. So that should be enough evidence for you that oxidative stress plays and mitochondrial dysfunction plays a huge role in the symptoms of fibromyalgia. So you can either treat the symptoms with painkillers, sleeping tablets, antidepressants, etc., or you can treat the root cause so that you don't have the symptoms or reduce the symptoms to a degree. So this next site that I'm going to take you to, bear with me because we're getting there. This is the National Library of Medicine. And if you want to go there yourself, it's called pubmed.gov. You just go in the search bar and you type in fibromyalgia. and oxidative stress as keywords that we want to link together. Oh, I've already done it. So there's 190 results. So there's 190, just short of 200 studies that is linking the effects of oxidative stress to fibromyalgia. Now, if you look at this little bar chart here on the left, you will see that up to the year 2000, there was zero research on this. None. Zero. But every year since then, it's gone up. So in 2006, there was only 3 studies that year on the effects of oxidative stress. By 2010, there was 11 that year. And then if you go up to 2020, there was 18. Last year, 5 years on, nearly, there was 22 studies. And this year already, there were 17 studies published on the effects between specifically oxidative stress and fibromyalgia. So there's 200 studies implicating or that have researched and are finding there is a link between fibromyalgia and oxidative stress. Guys, I'm not going to go through all of these. I just want to show you that there is a large body of evidence pointing that you should be very aware of finding a way to reduce your oxidative stress. If this makes sense, and you're with me still, drop me a 1 in the comments, please, because I can't see you all. Yeah, and there's 374,000. If we just knock off the fibromyalgia here, and you just look at oxidative stress, you'll see that there's 377,000 studies. And you can type in oxidative stress and just about any form of degenerative health issue, and you're going to find relation to cardiovascular health, to diabetes, to arthritis, to whatever you want to put in there. The rarer it is, the less there's going to be, obviously, but the links to osteoarthritis, you name it, it's all in there. And you can see again that the research up until about the year 2000 was very, very, very low. And then over the last few years, it's just spiked in the research of what oxidative stress is doing to us. So would you agree, based upon what you can see in the body of evidence, that that oxidative stress and mitochondrial function is something that you should really be trying to, at whatever level, take care of? Now, the number one thing that people know about in order to take care of oxidative stress, or the most recent thing that people have known about up until recently, is taking antioxidants. So I'm pretty sure all of you have heard of antioxidants. And for me, antioxidants, until 10 years ago, I found out about what this system does, were something that you either ate in a very colorful diet, which I still recommend you do for multiple reasons, or there was something that you took in a supplement. What I didn't know is that your body makes its own antioxidants, and they're 1,000,000 times more effective than anything you can take or eat. Okay. Now, 2 of them, one of them is called superoxide dismutase. You remember that study said people are usually low in superoxide dismutase and catalase. Now, those, for examples, are natural antioxidants. Your body makes them. You can't take them. They're not metabolized. I think glutathione you can take in a drip. You have to, or bodybuilders inject it into muscular, because you can't metabolize it in a supplement form. But guys, but you can influence your body to start making those antioxidants that it's supposed to produce. So there's also research, for example, in autism, that children with autism also have a reduced amount of their own antioxidant defense. And what that research that I was showing you was that people with fibromyalgia have a lower antioxidant defense. So if you can stimulate that in some way, it's going to be of benefit to you. So what I want to do really quickly is show you a little bit about what oxidative stress is and how on earth we're getting rid of it. Well, we're reducing it. And then I want to bring ACO on so she can share her real life example of how it's worked for her. So if you look at this particular slide here, what you'll see is on the left-hand side, a very healthy, normal cell. You know, it's got a lovely shaped and protective cell wall. This is what you would expect in like maybe a young baby or a 16-year-old or maybe even a 20-year-old still. The cell's brain, the nucleus in the middle, is healthy and functioning properly. Those little wiggly maggot-looking things inside your mitochondria that produce the energy that your cells need to live on efficiently. All of that is healthy and well. That's because you're young or you have good antioxidant defense. But what happens, most healthy people have healthy oxidative antioxidant production up until their mid-20s, early 30s. It's functioning, your body is protected from harm. But as you get to about the age of 21, 25, your survival gene switches off. And with the downregulation of your survival gene, so does the production of your own antioxidants go down. Every single year, your own production of these antioxidants goes down. Now, again, this is in a healthy human. If you're already somebody that has a dysfunction in this or a deficiency already, then yours is going to be even more so, okay? So if you look at the cell in the middle, this one is starting to be attacked by free radicals because you no longer have the antioxidants to protect your cells from them. That would probably be about, I don't know, biologically a 45, 55-year-old person, just to give you an example. And then if you look at the far right, this cell is under what we call oxidative stress. So there is not enough protection to protect the cell from free radical damage. That cell is under duress. The cell wall is being affected. The nucleus, the blueprint of the cell that tells you what it is, what it does, how to reproduce itself efficiently is affected. The mitochondria that produces the energy that it needs to live and function are affected. And this is why oxidative stress starts to affect the functionality of your cells and systems in your body in a brief way. So that should explain in a layman's term what oxidative stress is. And so here's another picture showing you normal cell, free radicals attack the cell, your cell ends up with something called oxidative stress. This year, if you could grab the waiting room. But the good news is you can reverse it. So if you look at the chain of reaction, so normal left to right, you've got the normal cell, the free radicals, the cell with oxidative stress. If you can upregulate something called, we'll just keep it simple, the NRF2 pathway, you can reverse this. And the reason that you're able to reverse it is because when you upregulate the NRF or activate the NRF2 pathway, what you do is you switch back on, there's someone else there in the waiting room, monsieur. You switch back on the antioxidants that you used to produce in early life. And so you can actually reverse your oxidative stress back to that of what you would expect to see in a young child, literally. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm all for having anything that behaves like a young child. I'm all for it. Give it to me. I will take it. And so how we do that is with something called Protandim NRF2. And this is what I want to share with you, how we've been able to do that. So a lot of people look at this and they think, oh, it's an antioxidant. Oh, it's turmeric. No, this is not an antioxidant. It is not an antioxidant. I want to say that 3 times. This is not an antioxidant. Get that out of your brain. What this product does is clinically proven now with 32 peer-reviewed published studies and 1 million anecdotal stories, is that this is actually shown to upregulate the NRF2 pathway, and it's clinically shown to improve the production of your catalase, your superoxide dismutase, the two that was specifically mentioned are in deficiency, and also glutathione as well, we know for sure, which is the master regulator of detoxification and repair and recovery in your body. So it's clinically proven to upregulate the NRF2 pathway and get your body pumping out those antioxidants that your body needs to crush inflammation and oxidative stress in your body. It's clinically proven on average to reduce your oxidative stress by 40% in 30 days and up to 80% in 90 days, which is huge. So just think, the number one cause of degenerative health reduced by 80% in 90 days. And you're upregulating all of your body's protection and reducing what we know is now associated with fibromyalgia, but we also know that it is increasing the deficiency that a lot of people the research is pointing to. That is what is happening. The great news is it's all natural. It is literally 5 natural ingredients. You can't go and buy these 5 ingredients and crush them up. It doesn't work like that. It is literally a very specific patented blend that is clinically proven to have the trigger on the pathway, and that is how it gets that done. So the other thing that I want to quickly talk about, because the main focus of this was oxidative stress, is you can also use activation to increase mitochondrial function. So you can use the protandim NRF2 on its own, or you can use it in conjunction with NRF1, which is specifically designed to increase mitochondrial function, production, and efficiency. And using the two is shown to have a little better result, obviously, because the mitochondrial function is vitally important as well. So you can just use the NRF2, or you can use NRF1 and NRF2 together. So with that, I want to go away from the slides and the science, and because I want to move through this as quickly as we can. And what I'd like to do is I'd like to introduce you to Isio. So she can share some of her own personal experience with symptoms and taking the product and how it has worked for her. This is my lovely friend and colleague, Isio Mara. Isio lives near Rotterdam in the Netherlands. And I met Isio 11 or 12 years ago now, I think.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, when I started talking to her about this, she was like, oh, I'm not sure, but I'll give it a go. But Isio, what I'd love to do is just give like a real live case study of because all of this is great, but it's what people really want to know is what's it done for other people, right?
Yeah.
So if you could share like where you were at before you ever come across this. So kind of how you were feeling, what symptoms you had, how they were affecting you, and maybe in your daily life.
Well, the symptoms were like really slow, and I'm that type of person that doesn't go to the doctors like very easily. So when you have a symptom, I kind of brush it off, and then when it gets worse, then you go to the doctors. And every single time I would go, it was okay, you're stressed. Oh, okay, you need other shoes, because I was experiencing a lot of pain in the sole of my feet. So I thought I was wearing the wrong shoes because I like heels. So I would go to the doctor.
Plantar fasciata.
Yes,
Yeah, fasciata.
things like that. And I remember right before I was diagnosed with fibromyalgia, the last straw that I had, because I wasn't able to walk normally. I felt like an 80-year-old And at that time, I was only 38. So that's like a big age gap. I felt terrible. So I remember it was in the summer, and I had to go to the supermarket, and I needed to pay for my groceries. And at that moment, I didn't have any feeling in my fingers. They turned like completely white, and the palm of my hand was like black. And the lady at the cashier had to help me get my money out of my purse because I didn't have any sensation whatsoever. And she was clever enough to ask me to take pictures, because you know how that goes when you go to the doctors. You get there, all your symptoms are gone. So I went to the doctors and I said, listen, I've been coming to your office over and over again for every single thing. And every time you're telling me it's just it's stress, or you give me ibuprofen and you tell me to go home. What is this? And then he thought, when he saw the picture, he thought that I had the disease of,
Raynaud's.
I think they call it Raynaud
Raynaud's.
syndrome.
Yeah. So
Yeah. I didn't know what it was, and I was like, okay, what am I supposed to do with this? And the only thing he said, you know what, with all the symptoms, I'm just gonna see how many of them you have, and the only thing I can say that you have fibromyalgia. And I remember when he said that, I was like, I never heard of that word. You're coming up with some medical term. I have absolutely no idea what it is. I can't even pronounce it. But I was like so anti-medicine that I said, okay, you know what? Whatever it is, I just need a solution. How can I live with this? And I remember him telling me, well, we don't have a cure for it. It's just a label for a few symptoms, because I remember him testing me for arthritis and what's the other one? Um, I can't remember. Rheumatoid and arthritis, but so he said, well, you have many symptoms of many different diseases. So that's what they labeled like fibromyalgia. And back then I didn't know much about it. And the only thing he said, you know what, take ibuprofen every time you're in pain. And you have another option to move to a warmer country. Well,
oh
that
wow.
wasn't really an option for me.
Wow.
I was a single mom back then, so I had it like very tight money wise. So I felt even more depressed. So for me, it was more of, how can I go through this, like working and raising my kid and having pain, not sleeping. I had the pain under the sole of my feet was like at a number 9, like really, it was like really painful. And I wasn't sleeping because of that. I had like maybe 2 or 3 hours a night, and it got really, really bad. And that was like, it was almost like a cycle that I would like. It's a loop that you get stuck in, because you can't sleep, you're not rested, your body hurts, then you get depressed because you're tired. So I was like on and on, and I couldn't get out. I started researching, and everybody was telling me, you got to change your lifestyle, eat healthier. I was a very busy person. I didn't eat properly either. I was always on the go. So I went completely vegan, tried that too. It worked up to a certain extent, because it was fluctuating so much. I got frustrated with it. It wasn't something that I wanted to reduce my pain in a steady pace, but it wasn't possible, because if you're like, um, yeah, like, that I'm a performer, so I'm on stage most of the time, and that means it's like long hours at work, on stage at night, and I don't have time to eat. I don't have time to rest. I needed to find something that worked within that schedule, and being a vegan wasn't working. You need a lot of that.
Yeah. So how you obviously we started talking and
Mm-hmm.
I shared the benefits of NRF2. You watched that ABC video yourself.
Actually, you shared that video later. The way you started with me, and I think it is because that I like researching, is that you asked me if I knew anything about oxidative stress. And I said, I don't even know what that is. And at that time, I was already fed up with all the solutions that everybody was giving me. So I can actually understand a lot of people that have fibromyalgia is like, ugh, again, again with
Seen it
another
all.
solution, it's not working, because I had the same attitude. And I remember you telling me of a book, and I can't remember who was the writer, the author was, but you
I
gave me a
remember what
book.
it was, but for the life of me, I can't remember the name. It was like a little PDF book or something.
Yeah, something like that. It was the digital book about oxidative stress. So I started reading, and then I was like, okay, it sounds interesting and plausible. Why not? And I remember you asking me to try the little yellow pill, and I remember being very reluctant,
Yeah.
because I was like,
I could see it in
that's
your
not gonna
face. You
work.
were like, yeah, but no.
Yeah, whatever. Whatever, I'll try it, whatever, it's not going to work anyway.
Yeah.
So that's how I got into contact with the NRF2, the pretendum thing.
Okay.
So, and I remember when you gave it to me, that was the funniest part. The first week I had nausea, and I remember wanting to quit.
Yeah.
I was feeling so sick. I said, this thing is making me worse than I already felt. If you're already feeling
And
bad,
I
you don't
said,
want to
keep
get
taking
worse.
it.
No, I was like, ugh. And then you said, no, no, hang on, hang on. And then I said, okay, 30 days.
Yeah.
I'll take it for 30 days.
And by the way, for those who are wondering, that was the body purging and detoxifying.
Yeah.
Like that it's not so only 5% of people experience that, but it some people do, and it is literally your body just having a detoxification. Yeah. So what were the first things you started to notice? Like you started taking it, how long was it before you noticed? Because some people, I noticed in days, other people it takes a couple of months. And it's also very subtle, because you're switching on a body's mechanism. It's not like taking a painkiller and like, oh, in an hour the pain is gone. It's very natural how this happens in your body. So what was the first things that you started to notice?
I mean, I didn't have any illusions that I would take it and it would go away, because my biggest wish was actually to be free of pain. The pain was the worst. I mean, I can handle a little muscle pain. I mean, that I can handle that, but the pain in my joints and the pain under the sole of my feet, that was the worst. And I really wanted to get rid of that, but I didn't have any illusions that it was going to disappear within a couple of days. But after the 7 days of nausea, I went into better sleep. That was like 7 days after. So if I say first week was nausea, the second week I had better sleep. And I was so happy because I was getting deep sleep. Even though it was a little more over than 5 hours, I was getting good rest. So I was happy with that. I was still in pain, but I was happy with the rest.
I remember you saying
And then
that first, yeah.
And then it was around week 3, I remember my brain fog started to clear up. I was concentrating better. I still couldn't remember all my lyrics on stage, but I was okay with that. But I didn't have to run up the stairs every 5 minutes, forgetting something and going back. You know how that goes.
Yeah.
And then I remember at the day 30, when the bottle was almost finished, I remember calling you and say, oh my God, I don't have a pill anymore. What can I do? And I remember ordering the next one. And then you said, I need to use it at least a month for every decade that I live. And by then I was 38. I was like, okay, I'll take it for 4 months. So the stress test for me was, okay, if I could take it for 4 months, and within that 4 months, I can get rid of my depression, I can get rid of the brain fog and the fatigue, then at the end, if I can have at least a little bit less pain, I'm good.
Yeah.
So when the winter months came, because I started somewhere in September, when the winter months came, I was like, okay, now it's the stress test. Let's see. Am I going to get rid of the depression? I'm going to be good around Christmas. How is this going to be? How is the cold going to how am I going to react to the cold and the wet weather. And then remember around Christmas, I woke up and I was like, okay, do I feel pain in my feet or what? You know, when you put your foot on the ground when you get out of your bed in the morning, and I
Yeah.
was like, okay, I feel my toes, I feel the heel of my foot. How is this? And remember getting slowly getting up and I'm holding on and saying, okay, I think I'm good, but I'm not sure. So I was like reluctant to believe that I wasn't feeling anything because I was like, okay, if I say this too loud, I probably jinx myself.
Oh.
Remembering going to the bathroom and going like, okay, I'm good. I'm good. Let's see how long it takes. And after that, it was like getting used to the fact that I don't have pain, but still, you know, you're so used to it. And I'm kind of
Yeah.
expecting it to come back.
Mm-hmm.
So then in January, I started going to the gym like 6 days a week. I was like, oh, I was exaggerating because I was so happy. I was afraid that it would like come back. So I went like all in.
You went on a whole fitness journey and then
Yes.
you started studying nutrition after off
Yes.
the back of it. I remember you were like, woo.
Yeah. It was so freeing. I get goosebumps saying it because that it was almost like somebody just gave me a key and the cycle was broken.
Mm,
And you feel relief. I get my life back. I get to do all the things that I love doing. And
yeah.
I can't, I can't sit still. So for me, it was like, yes, let's go. And it's like almost somebody gives you time, but that time is almost running out. So you try to fit as much as possible in it because it's like,
Yeah.
okay, you feel like Cinderella, before 12 o'clock, the carrot's gonna turn into a pumpkin. That's how I
So
felt.
that was like 9 8 9 years ago.
Yes.
So you've been taking this pretty much for what, 9 or plus years?
I did in that 9 years, I did do a test because I like testing.
I know you stopped for a little while.
Yeah. And I wanted to see if
Everybody does. They're like, oh, I'll just stop. And then they're like, oh, maybe I should order again.
I wanted to see how long it would take to get back to the low level that I was.
Yeah.
The first 1 month I was cool. Second, I was cool. Third, I was like, no, I don't think I should be doing this. Maybe I should just go back.
Yeah, because your body will have carried the results for a certain amount of time. I think
Yeah.
the inventor of the product said after about 45 days, eventually
Mhm.
you will start to return back. So yeah, it is something you need to keep up. So you're and now, like, how are your, like, all these years on, like, how are your symptoms now?
I'm good.
Like the pain.
I'm good.
So you said the pain was at a 9. Like, what would you say the pain is now? Because I remember you saying to me, like, it's never completely gone, but
No,
it's totally manageable.
what happens is what I notice with me is when I like when I work a lot and have a lot on my plate and I don't rest and I'm stressed out, I get flare-ups.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I'm
Okay.
now very conscious about, okay, how is my schedule affecting me? How am I feeling? So I'm constantly monitoring how I'm feeling. And as soon as I start feeling, and it starts in my feet, always in my feet. So as soon as I start feeling that, I know that I have to like take it easy and just, start my meditation and all of the things that I do to stay on a level. But I
Mm.
never stop with the product. So that's like my holy grail. I take it
Now,
every night before I go to sleep.
so you recently added the collagen in too, and I know you've had some
Yeah.
great results with that. So just share quickly before we wrap up a little bit what you've
Yeah.
noticed there, because I know a lot of people say it's really good for the joints and for the aches and pains.
Well, I didn't expect it to be as good as as it did. I started in November last year, and I was having problem with heel spur. Is that how you call it?
Yeah.
Heel spur. And it was like almost a year. I was like walking around. I could not get over it. And then I started in November with the collagen, and for some reason, I started healing faster. And I remember it was February or March, I tripped and I fell. I sprained my ankle. And usually when I sprain my ankle, it takes me up to a week to get off my feet. And that the next day I was good.
Oof.
I was good. I was like, how is that even possible? Like nothing ever happened.
Amazing. Okay, good. Well, we've gone pretty long on the whole call, but I think that you've been really good in articulating and sharing kind of your own personal experience. As I said before, if you go to the Facebook group we shared in the beginning, you will find hundreds of stories just like Isio's, very different, all different people, different symptoms, different results, but having results. And by the way, a lot of these symptoms, like the brain fog, the fatigue, the mood, the down mood, is all menopausal symptoms too, guys, by the way. And so what we're doing here is we're not giving you something, we're switching back on something that your body used to make, but it's not making any longer in the way that it used to. And so you're actually helping your body to function younger and be more effective in the way that it heals. So I think that's about it. Thank you so much.
Oh, Lisa, I see Hazel is asking a question if I took the Nerve 1.
Yeah.
I did try to take the Nerve 1 in the beginning. That was, I think the doses was two, right? 2 pills.
Yeah.
And for me, that didn't work as well as other people because where I didn't have pain, I started having pain like immediately. So that kind of scared me. So I was like, okay, I'm just going to stick to the Nerve 2. For me, it's working right now. And, when you've been in pain for so long, you don't want to go back.
Right.
So I think 9 years down the road, now I learned that I can take one and then slowly graduate.
Yeah. So the coenzyme Q10, they were saying about the coenzyme Q10, and I said, remember that. And that's because the NRF1 does have the coenzyme Q10. It might be, like you say, because the dose is 2 a day, take 1 a day instead of 2 and, make it last longer. But yeah, I get it. Like if you're getting results and all of a sudden you feel a difference, you're like, oh, no. And the NRF2 and the collagen's working for you. And then for some people, the NRF1 and the NRF2 work well for others. So it's worth giving. I would start on both and see how you get on. But the minimum would be the NRF2.
Yeah.
So if anybody else has any questions, I'm pretty happy to stay for a minute and we'll try and answer. We also have a doctor on the line who I know would be happy to answer too. So not medical advice, just like on, we're not going to clinic here before you guys start. But if anybody does have any other questions, yeah, so for example, Charlene says she started with 1 a day on the NRF1 and take NRF1 and NRF2 forever, because I mean, we'll bring Charlene on another day and share her story because it's quite unbelievable, the results that she's had. But yeah, I just want to thank everybody for joining us this evening. What you want to do now after watching this information is get back to the person who invited you to this call. They will tell you with a little bit of discussion kind of where to go, what to do, what's going to suit you best, and how to get your hands on this stuff as soon as possible so that you can start taking it and getting results. It has been, and I don't say this lightly, life-changing for me. I was in a desperate place when I came across NRF2 in terms of my energy and just my mental focus, and it literally brought me back to life. And we started sharing this with people, and people would say to me, I am going to take this every day for the rest of my life. I would meet people that had backache for 10 years that after a couple of months, like they could get up and out of bed without thinking about it. And they were like, I can't believe what's happened. And so that's why we're out here sharing this, because people need to know that it's there. It's an option. It takes care of a vital part of your cellular health. and yeah, get back to the person who invited you to the call so they can help you with what to do, how to get your hands on it. And we look forward to inviting you on a call like this if you're up for it one day, so that you can share your story with everybody and inspire everybody else as well. So thank you, Isio, for doing that.
Thank you for having me.
And sharing your story is inspiring other people and helping them take the leap to go and get those results as well. Thank you, guys. Thanks for joining.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Ciao, everybody.